You're just barely in.
I call the board of finance meeting to order. I guess first business is appointment of officer. It's terms on the board of finance or something plus the board to term.
Each year we do.
2 years.
Each year.
I mean, it's for limit.
I don't think so, no.
If you don't mind, Mr. President, I would nominate you to be president again.
You know, we-
Just give me the option. Okay. I move the nomination.
we have nomination.
One second.
Motion.
Second, close the nomination.
Yeah, you need one, right?
Yeah.
All right, if not, all those in favor. The nominee. Signify so. Those opposed. Next up is. Secretary. And current secretary.
You probably know that, right?
I think
I came in late. I came in after the last time. I had the briefing that.
Three, I guess.
It wasn't Andy.
I don't think so. I'm secretary. In my.
She didn't.
Anyway, we can, open nominations.
I nominate Darren.
Not elections, we didn't have. Mr. President, I make a motion to close nominations.
Thank God for second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor. Darren, the secretary. Say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Congratulations. Uh, Next up is investment officer. I'll make those motions.
I'll second.
Thank you. If not, all those in favor of Shannon Cruz, second for investment officer. Aye. Those opposed? Motion for, depositories.
Motion to designate Lake City Bank, Alliance Bank, and Trust Indiana as depositories for the year.
I'll second.
Discussion. If not, all those in favor of Lake City Alliance, Trust Indiana, or depositories, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Investments.
I have a copy that Shannon's put together. She did a really nice job of giving you a one sheeter that has a list of all of our accounts. You can see we have several different accounts at Alliance Bank. She's also giving you the interest amount that's been garnished this year. It's the one sheet. You have a copy in your packet, and you also have a copy on the top of your stuff to get to. You see the Alliance CD interest, that CD, when it turned, we rolled that over into Trust Indiana. Trust Indiana was giving us a higher interest rate than this was. That's. With the money market there. We also had a little bit of money there to hold the construction funds. Once again, it was closed. The funds were being spent out. Lake City is our bank, which we pay on most of our bills. So that's why you'll see large transfers to 800,000 every so often, money from one bank to the other to pay through Lake City. So you can see the interest that we've garnered through those two funds, and then we have three funds in Trust Indiana. Trust Indiana Bank is a bank that is backed by several Indiana banks, larger banks, and it's only open to governmental entities like schools, governments, police departments, local governments, those kind of things. And then you can see how much interest each fund has accrued, and then the balance. The first fund, number 7, is where we get most of our is where we have when parents pay old textbook rental fees or other fees, then we deposit that there. So it's just been sitting for a little while. The one for operations is the one where we put our construction funds, that initial $4 million, it a lot of interest. There's still a balance in there because we've left the remaining construction funds in there to continue to grow. And as we pay bills, we've just been keeping to. And then the last one is the old CD that was at Alliance, but that Trust Indiana, see how much interest it's gained just from Trust Indiana. One of the other things that we didn't talk about, because I know we're not here, is checks that are 2 years old or not. So that is in your board packet. Right after the personnel report, the old personnel report from December, you'll find a copy of the 2-year-old checks for award. So in March of each year, we have to go back and look at any checks that are outstanding that have not been cashed, need to be declared, I guess, void, and they go back, and money goes back to the fund they were drawn out of. So like CDK ICE, we reached out to them, did not cash their check. It's $167. It came out of the ECA fund, goes back to the ECA fund. We have another individual that had some refund of in the cafeteria, and reached out to that individual. They've not responded, and so it goes back into the cafeteria fund. So this, I would ask that the board declare those checks as receive it back into their original fund. I need a motion for that, yes.
So that was your question. We're waiting to take that.
You also have in your packet back to your revenue history report. The revenue history report is all the interest. If you're interested in seeing that, then you can kind of see how much interest has been accrued from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. This kind of goes with the first report that. One of the other things that we do in the Board of Finance is to review a financial report. DUAB, which is the Distressed Unit Appeals Board. Refer everybody back to the board here. So DUAB is the Distressed Unit Appeals Board, and so they annually publish this for any school and every school in Indiana. So if you're interested in looking at any school, you can look this up on their website. So this is ours. It gives historical data. The board has a copy of that. This historical data that tells us what our ADM is. This is pretty close. We were 622. This was last year. This is the net assessed value of just our school corporation boundaries, and then the estimated population within that boundaries, not the number of students, but estimated just general population. You can see our average daily membership, which is how many students we're reporting to the DOE, and then your funding is based on how many students you have. So it goes all the way back to 2015, there were 815 students. 822, 825, and then our most recent number is 609.97. Spring. Like many rural Indiana schools, many rural schools are in declining enrollment. Families aren't having 5 or 6 children to where the jobs are. Housing becomes a struggle as well. Here's some demographics. Our next graph about free reduced lunch, special education students and EL students or English language learners. So you can see the trend there as well over the years. On finances, once again, this is all information available on the DUAB. It's called Distress Unit Appeals Board. Gives you history from 2014 to now, 5 fund types. So you can see a large spike here. That's a construction fund. We had $4 million that was money that was spent on our recent projects. So that's why that's much larger. So you can see the different funds. Changes revenue by type. You see our revenue over the years and how that's changed. We do not have an operating referendum. That information is available on the school corporation to see.
Kathy, what's the goal? And that demographics. Kathy, what's up there? Category.
So, there's another column to the left that says small, and it goes all the way up to 150% for the blue line. So I don't know how we would have 150% for these. It was COVID, I kind of guess what it was. Any questions on any information that's?
Yeah. All of
Okay.
Any other business?
Right. We will start our regular meeting now. I'd like to have a prayer and then we'll do the pledge of allegiance before we get started. Right. Lord, we just ask that you be with us this evening. We're thankful for a new year and just ask that you watch over the students and the staff here this year, keep them safe. Just be in this building. Help us to be a light to others that we're around, and just to have your light shine through the school this year. And just pray this evening that we can do your will and do what's right in your eyes. Just give us the guidance to do that this evening. That's in your name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Normally we just do the lunch right now, but we've got to do elections of officers to start our meeting tonight, so we're gonna do that real quick. Bear with us here. So the first one is we need to nominate president, school board. I'd like to make a motion to appoint John Whitline.
Mr. President, I move to close the nominations.
Sorry.
All those in favor of John Gilmore as president, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. You know, it does. I can run.
It's fine. All right, next is vice president. Any question? Vice president. Who's on? Who's on? Who's it got?
Well, it was fine.
Yes, yes.
Mr. President, I would make a motion to appoint Darren Cook as vice president. Mr. President, I do nomination. Second.
Vice president. All those in favor of giving the vice president, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thanks. All right. Next, I need a motion to appoint secretary. Make motion to nominate. I did a motion to close. Thanks. Second. All those in favor of Jake Tanner as secretary, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Now for student health department. Madeline, you're up. I didn't know, does everybody like Maddie? Except for me, I guess. So I got something that your teacher wrote. Maddie is a joy to have in class. She is always smiling and brings so much positive energy to everyone around her. She works hard and always tries her best in all activities in the class. Maddie is responsible, respectful, a wonderful listener. She is quick to help other students and adults. Her kindness never goes unnoticed. Her genuine laugh brightens the room, and her sweet, caring personality makes her a friend to all. Maddie truly represents what it means to be a role model student. I'm very lucky to have Maddie in our fourth grade classroom. It's very impressive. Who'd you bring with you tonight? What's your favorite subject? What's your favorite part about school? You can't say recess. Math. So this is a certificate. What it says is basically the West Central School Corporation Board of Trustees is pleased to present this award of outstanding achievement based on citizenship, service, contribution to others, in the pursuit of academic excellence. That is for you. And also, back to the back. Thank you. How do you get back to this? There's a few things in here for you. We're very proud that you can represent West Central in the way that you do. Thank you very much. Okay.
I, what I said. No, I'm very excited. She's very good. She's a good, she brightens our days. So, no, I love having her.
Thank you, madam.
Congratulations.
Oh, time out.
Yeah, pause again, up more than 2 hours.
Yeah.
All right, so, any public comment for this evening? No? All right, now's the time, unless you want to stay for the whole meeting, on the time.
Thank you for coming, guys.
Congratulations.
President, on our agenda, item number 4 says board resolution on compensation. I want to kind of ask everybody maybe approve it to that. Add that to the they have to be approved.
A motion for,
So each year, the board has discussion about compensation. And so each year, they affirm or decide to change how they choose to be compensated for their time, which is a lot. So I would ask you on the board to approve this resolution on compensation. Sure, like we read that, or it would just be what is legally allowed for our board members to receive. That would be my recommendation.
Mr. President, I would make a motion.
Second, that was approved. Okay, Jim, second.
Maybe we should switch. Let's switch.
you can switch, you want to get out of the hot seat.
But if there's any other, right there. Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
I do. Okay, or
Okay, so, all those in favor of passing, is that how I
Yes, board resolution.
support resolution and compensation, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Correct. Now we are on to need a motion for approval of the agenda. I'll make the motion. All those in favor of approving the agenda, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Give a motion to approve the minutes. I make a motion to approve the minutes from December 4th.
Second, that was approved.
All those in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Have a green requisition list. On this requisition list, I go down and talk about a few of those. Obviously, tires is kind of self-explanatory for D1. Fourth item there are Galaxy tablets, excuse me. This is for a grant that Brian Korsky wrote and received from SIA. So we went down, Mr. Carlson and for Christmas to receive recognition for that grant he's written. So these tablets are basically tablets that have software loaded that allow him to see different levels of, I don't know if I'm trying to hear at some point, but levels of like the bone and the skin and
A little deeper than that. On a tablet. Variable state.
he's really excited. I think it's in the subscription for Seesaw, and further down, we have some community furniture, community room furniture. You notice it's coming out of Fund 700 or 0700. That's our construction funds. So we still have money left in our construction we can use for both buildings. So currently they have folding chairs and folding tables that are pretty bad shape. So this would be for new tables and chairs. Further down, probably the ones at the bottom. So you see the ones in bold, which are probably the last 7 or 8 there. These aren't actually things being spent, they're being encumbered. So what we do is we write a PO to kind of hold commit the permission to spend. So it will be like spending 2025 money in 2026. So like Verizon, Vertical Horizons is our internet. Is our Laguna and Associates, our technology people. And so when we get the monthly bill, we'll just take it from there, because we're using 2025 monies. So we don't spend 6. And we try to keep them in the same location so that it's easy to keep track of. So that when you go to track, or let's say NIPSCO electricity bill comes in, you can tag it to that. So our connection will learn using 2025 monies. Bills in 2026. Any questions on requisitions?
Just would thank Mr. Polarski for his hard work and for letting know that. Appreciate that.
That wasn't only 23 were awarded out of every 700 applicants or something like that. I mean, it's very low.
I don't need a motion for that petition.
I second. All those in favor of approving the requisitions list, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes. Agenda personnel report. Mr. President, I make a motion to approve the personnel report as presented. I'll second the motion. Those in favor of approving the consent agenda personnel report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? HEA 1003 flexibility waiver resolution.
So the last several years, the DOE has allowed us to submit a waiver of instruction. So you have to have a minimum of so many minutes in a day at the elementary and high school. And if you surpass that, kind of like bank that time. Not really, but you're over the required minutes, and it allows us to dismiss early every on that once a month on a Friday. So this would be to continue to seek that waiver. What happens is the board passes a resolution authorizing complete the waiver, and then I submit it to the DOE, and then it goes before the state board. The state board approves or denies them that way. So we're looking just once again at once a month. During the month, usually on Friday, 2 hours dismiss or
Could I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve the flexibility waiver.
I'll second. Those, in favor of approving the HEA 1003 flexibility waiver resolution, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? NIESC bid contract agreement, food, dairy, produce, snack and beverage.
Each year we join Northern Indiana Education Service Center in doing cooperative bidding for our food, dairy, produce. And so by joining other districts, we can get better pricing. And so this is our request to join NISIC for that annual contract. We would be looking at food distributor, a dairy distributor, produce distributor, and a snack and beverage. Rebecca says we're not using bakery as that distributor. So she's asking to participate in that bid process.
I'll make that motion. President. Second. Those in favor of approving the NIESC bid contract agreement, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That Resolute Volleyball League Sunday practice. Results, thank you.
Because it's a Sunday practice. This is an AAU type. We do have some students, but mainly it's like travel ball. The times would be 1 to 3 Sunday afternoons.
Already been doing some.
Yes. Yes.
Can I get a motion to approve the results volleyball for Sunday practice?
Sunday.
All right. I'll second that.
Question. What category all numbers choose?
So the first category is a school-sponsored group, youth league. Fundraisers connected us. We don't usually charge them, so that would be, no, it's not that one. Group 2, just for the public's input here, is a non-school sponsored group with school functioning as a nonprofit entity, church group alumni, not West Central affiliated. That would not be appropriate either. Class 3 is a non-school sponsored group within the school district, but may function as a for-profit. Family events, non-school sponsored, and AAU travel is most appropriate to be free. So they would be charged that rate.
Mr. President, before we get to that point, I'm opposed against this. I think we need to let our kids have a day off. I think it's a precedent we don't want to do. I know we do approve performances, but that's a one-time thing. It's not an ongoing for a month and a half.
Thank you, God. I've already voted no on Sunday practice. Well, I'll continue to do that. It's one thing, again, like you said, it's just one day for us to kind of take a break. Our kids need that. And I will be voting.
Well, that being said, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Aye.
And so I think we need to probably record the minutes of the meetings. But so the guests. Dennis. Other.
That,
Finance question, how does that affect this, since they've already started?
But then you can take it back, so everything going forward is canceled. They don't. Yeah, I noticed that, I received it December 5th.
I saw that, but she sent it in on the seventh.
Right, I didn't get it
Right.
until after that board meeting had already passed. Yes, yes. I have told all entities involved and then reminded Mr. Messer as well that they need to plan ahead. Because we can't keep having this the second time it happens. Receiving it tonight. Sure it would happen. They would be delivered timely next time.
moving on.
Like motion, don't do no insurance.
Second, Madam President. All those in favor of passing the dental renewal, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Nonprofit and investmental, no First Baptist Church. Someone, Mr. President.
I'll send it.
Those in favor of the nonprofit and investmental, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes. Girls basketball Sunday field trip to Purdue, January 11th. Second. All those in favor of the girls basketball Sunday field trip to Purdue, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? For discussion. Well,
Having good copies of here.
Oh.
got one.
That's just some data points from our recent NWEA and iReady testing and some of the growth marks that we have as well. It's probably easier to see it on the other sheet that I gave you because it would kind of break it down a little bit better, of the percentage and everything. But before we go over that a little bit, I do have, like, West Central Elementary has been selected as a finalist for the Center of Excellence in Leadership and Learning's Celebrate Your School Awards. So there was an overwhelming number of applicants this year, and our school was named a finalist for our positive culture, dedication, and impact. So we're in the running for a cash prize throughout the 2026 calendar year, and the center could be visiting our program and sharing our story statewide. So that's happening for us. We just received an email yesterday. So. And then also the PTC received a grant from the Community Foundation of Pulaski County, totaling around $6,000. That's going to be for our calming room and additional upgrades to our library seating. So we're looking into getting things such as mini trampolines, balance beam, sensory rocking chairs, and various other things for the common room for the kids. And then for, the library, we're looking for a couple of writings for that, in that, so kind of, I wanted to kind of look like a Barnes and Noble type of, so that they can kind of enjoy going in there and reading things with their class. But looking at the data, if you look at that, it's just basically our latest benchmarking data and review points. So you see our overall growth in NWEA reading was about 7.66 points average per student as a whole, and with 82% of our students achieving growth. In our iReady and NWE math, our overall per student average growth was 13.64 points, and 86% of our students experienced growth. So when we're looking into the areas of growth that we need, you can see that there is some inconsistency across grade levels. Some students are showing some stagnation or regression, but our goal is to tighten up our RTI and progress monitoring, identifying those students with high needs, and developing targeted learning plans for these students. And we have our fourth grade teacher, Ms. Bear, who is going to be taking the lead and helping organize the fourth, fifth, and sixth grade tier 1, 2, 3 students to maximize intentionality in the classroom as well. And then Mr. Wenzel will continue to support our Title I students in grades K through 3, with grades 2 and 3 focusing on the IREAD, also foundational skills, oral and reading fluency, and comprehensive strategies. Our main goal this semester is intentionality, where we can maximize our instruction time and looking for opportunities to gain.
So you're gonna get back to order, sorry. Oh, okay. On RIT scores, so RIT score, ours call out Washington. RIT, RIT score, so when students take in a meeting, they get what's called this RIT score. And this RIT score kind of is a going continuum. It kind of tells how efficient. So a student did say might have a RIT score one day two, and last time they were like 26, they grew 6 points. So there's a chart that tells you how much you're supposed to. So like from fall to the winter, like a kindergartner should gain about 8 points or so. And then from winter to spring, they should gain 7 points or so. So you want to see how much they grow between each. So this kind of tells you who one's class, if one student that didn't grow. If you look at the 0, you had one student who didn't grow, you had one who went down 1 to 5 or so. I don't have that chart in front of me, but from a kindergartner, I think I'm a benefit supposed to be about 7. So they should be about 7 points. So 5 students gained, they should have 3 gained 4. 5 15 points for so you can see this is over the right, so it will show you 89% is kindergarten.
So I'm not saying 89% growth.
In that class, 89%.
Groups, yeah.
Yes.
Question is it the same test?
Same test, but the RIT score, this RIT is different. Yeah, it's in
So, and the kid aces it the first time through.
it's adapted. So it changes, it gives harder questions as they get them correct, and easier questions if it kind of works to find where that student kind of is. It's adapted, it kind of moves with the student until you kind of get a number where that student is.
Is that because like they don't put it all the time if they're doing good?
Yes.
If they're doing good,
Yes.
it can take a
And
look
kids
down.
can have something wrong with that. because
Yeah.
they're, like stuck in it for an hour or
Yeah.
so. I don't understand why somebody else can get it done in 20 minutes, and why am I taking an hour? Well, it's still figure you still got
Yeah.
describe your stuff. It's still going.
Yeah.
And there's a correlation between growth and the test.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that's your actually with teachers today is that if you get like if there's 50% correlation. So, there's a correlation that says like language arts, let's say you're 12 in language arts as a third grader, you're 50% likely to pass. Get higher than that, your odds are going to increase. But I caution the teachers too is that you've got to be careful because this number only says that you're at 40% proficiency. So NWA says, so when you talk about percentiles, you're only at the 40 percentile. So if you're not like good to go, you're not like hit the number that you're supposed to. You're not like good to go and you're above and beyond your abilities. Which means you're doing better than 40% of the other kids. Comforting. It's a data peak, it's a data point, and so I always tell people too, you need to look at three data points. This is one. So there's this. Miss Wenzel is also doing her own assessments. Then you also have classroom assessments too. So I think you're seeing some good results with success and what she's doing. So she's really been working hard. I think the new reading program also helps. Hopefully, sorry, say that it helps, but I think some of the teachers are just saying that they've seen some results.
I holding good results in my hand that I would base on the Amplify program for the first semester of third grade. Yes.
Combination of a lot of things. But I know teachers have been working hard and they're very focused on all the kids.
I wasn't trying to toss on the teachers, I'm just saying,
That's
I wonder how they get their data, is how I, yeah,
Yes, that's how it is.
they do a great job.
Yes. The iReady and NWA math. If you take iReady, the one that's little itty bitty on the back is iReady because NWA sixth graders take math that. And I don't, Mr. Walsh, the iReady typical growth.
Offhand, I don't know the,
Anyway, you still see similar results.
Kindergarten's like 29 points for iReady, typical growth for a year. Yes, and then it goes down to like fifth or sixth grade going, you get single digits,
Yeah.
6 or 8 points or something. They're supposed to grow here.
And that's always been our weaker area. I think Mike has a theory about that too. About teaching kids 5 different ways to do something. How do you express that to me?
Yeah.
I think parents would agree.
I think teachers would agree with that too. Flowers not.
You said the growth, that number is lower as they go higher grade. There's a fifth grader that dropped like 35 to 40 points. How does that happen? On the map.
NWA.
Not I read right? If anyone.
Yeah, be,
I don't know, a sixth grader or fifth grader.
They could have just gone through and not.
but if it's adaptive,
That's
The thing with iReady
That's-
is it adapts out of grade level standards. So, and it's almost a choice, so we got a 25% chance to get something right. So you have to go back and look historically for that student. Was that one in fall his outlier where they got lucky? And the thing with iReady, it then starts them there where they ended last time. So they start out hard, so then they may fall again, go up and down till the computer figures out where their ability truly is. So,
adaptive, something.
yes. Yeah. And so like you might see first graders getting multiplication and division problems on iReady until they figure out where they truly are. It'll jump them way out of grade level standards. And the kids will just sit and stare at it. You just gotta tell them, you're not supposed to know that yet. Just make a guess and go on. So, yeah. And sometimes they'll guess right.
Yeah.
And
How's that fair to the student?
and the other issue with iReady in talking to them too, like sitting and staring for those kids that really want to do well is detrimental because then the computer doesn't know if they do know it or not. So they'll actually get an extra question or two also so they can figure it out. So if you really don't know, it's to the student's best interest just to click and go on. Because if you're pausing, you either get a flag that you're pausing too long,
Are you
not,
still
and
there?
are you still there? Or the computer doesn't truly know, or you're just working it out and you might know it. And then if they do guess right, yes, that's how.
So is this all AI?
Would have started before that.
Yeah, it was before that. Somehow they do know how to adapt. That if you get one right, then it just advances you to the next year. And if you get one wrong, then it drops you back down. And then it just tells by how many on that level that you consistently start answering correct. And then that's your level. And iLearn kind of works the same way now, except iLearn will stay in grade level standards. It's just difficulty level that if they get them right, they get a higher DOK level or more difficulty, you know. And I think that's wrong, but they stay within grade level standards on iLearn. It's way above our pay grade, you know, for understanding how all that
It
stuff
doesn't
works.
sound fair at all to the kids.
So,
And it's just a data point. It's a data point.
So what's the purpose then?
Yeah,
It's just
well,
a
to
stupid
inform
number.
instruction, but putting all of our eggs in the basket. And it's not fair to, and I feel horrible, it's essentially to be retained for grades. That's just because you can't get an exception, you know, it's awful. You know, because anymore, we found out you used to be, the student didn't pass tests. A little bit, you know, you and you know, make sure parents aware, help them, whatever. We're in small that can't do that anymore because the state has all of our data. They're feeding in all their data for if they're IT or if they're English language learner, how if they've been retained or not, how if they've passed the math portion, which is a way to get around being retained. And then the other options are if they've already been retained. So you can around it. State, oh, well, it comes up as a flag in our fall membership. Marcy kept telling me it's not, it still is an exception, it's still an exception. Can't clear the exception. If you did continue, you won't be able to get funding for that student, ever. So that 5 or 6 students, 2 years in a row, and 20 kids won't get funding. I mean, it's all about funding. And the state's making it more difficult to, what you do is try for kids.
Ever.
Yeah,
The rest of that-
get funding.
for the rest of
It's
our
gonna
kids.
continue, it's gonna continue to be a flag in the portal where we have to report all of our kids.
they knew it, that student was not supposed to be a fourth grader because, everything flows out of harmony. Those are test scores, their grade levels, all of those. So they knew at the the state level, that student was not supposed to be a fourth grader, did not pass Irene, did not have any good cause prevention, and
Would not clear the code. Yeah, that's awful. So it is. It's gross.
yeah, maybe. Kathy hit on a little bit. I don't have NWA here right now, but NWA does consider 40 percentile on grade level, and I was always taught that's not so. 50 percentile is. So whenever I pull data, I count 50 percentile as being on grade level because you're smack dab in the middle. You're tested better than 50, 49 or whatever, tested better than you. So I would use 50 percentile. That's being on grade level. So there's just so much different data to look at. So I just pulled in some. There we go. So again, everything that the state pulls anymore, they pull our attendance rates to and such. So we're watch attendance lot. This is first semester. And the attendance, there's different ways to look at attendance. So if you just log into Harmony for the high school for the first semester, we had a 94.7%. But what the state wants is each student needs to be here 95% of the day, which equated to they could be absent 4.5 days the first semester. So I went through and figured that out. So all types of absences, whether it's prearranged, parent called in, doctor's note, anything, it drops us down to 63.2%. We're actually here 95%. Now, when we are addressing attendance concerns with families, I don't look at doctors because if the doctor says they can't be here, they can't. And that's the same with if Brad sends them home. If he sends them home, they can't be here. I don't look at those. They're in our totals, but I'm not going to go after a parent if the doctor says that they can't be here. So if I take out the doctor's notes, we have a 74.5% met that 95%. If you look at the GPS that the state puts out on us, the graduate prepared to succeed site or whatever, they had us last year at 63% rates for the high school. So that kind of tells me they're looking at everything, whether a doctor tells you that you can be here or not. So we're kind of on track, but, and I pull up, I check that, and like high performing schools that you think shouldn't be, and their attendance is much better. Like it's kind of rare to find a school over 7% that yes. So even the blue ribbon schools that you look at are not much better. Yes, so, middle school, I did the same thing, just looking at the first semester, 94% just straight attendance in Harmony. They do a little better. They are at 7%. If it's all types of absences, 7% met the 95% attendance rate. The GPS last year had us down to only 57.9, so we actually showed some there this year if they stay on track for that. So actually, there's a fair amount of time that's spent tracking attendance all the time. Checkpoints now, I learned checkpoints are mandated by the state, so we've done one checkpoint. So this is where we were as opposed to the state average. Math knocked it out of the park on checkpoint one, basically 19 percentage points above state average, 20, 25 percentage points above the state average. They did a really, really nice job on that. ELA is real close there to the state average. Eighth was a little bit harder. So what we decided this year with checkpoints, there's a Form A and a Form B. And this is a straight test. this is not adaptive, that it is testing standards, that they should know be a standard at this point. We did a little bit of remediation for Form B during success time to see if we can get just a few more to the passing rate. Robin did get a couple more to passing with a very short window. She did as much remediation as she wanted to. Tyler's, we didn't get Form B yet on checkpoint 1. His was a lot of main idea, and for a true intervention, he says, I'm basically teaching main idea every day, I think. So we may retest a few of them on Form B to see if they can increase on that too. But checkpoints are supposed to drive our instruction more to get us small glimpses along the way. So we'll see now that we piloted last year. We just kind of gave it to see what it was like, didn't do much with it, trying to be more intentional with the results this year. Okay, you did know the standard, let's reteach you a little bit, even Form B, and see if we increased or not on that. So this is just a screenshot. It's a very just basic way I'm going to track these checkpoints this year. I want to see if there's a correlation when we get to the end. So were they red, yellow, green, or blue on each checkpoint, and see where they are on the final I learn. I'm not putting scores, I'm just worried about colors right now, just to kind of see if there's going to be true correlation at the end or not. So see some of those. So blues, they were above proficiency, green at proficiency, yellow approaching, and red were not. So I've got every middle school student in the spreadsheet here, color coded, just to kind of track and see if that correlates or not. Because you want to do use this. And when she was talking, Kathy was talking about a certain RIT score, you're supposed to have a good chance of passing and such too. And I kind of noticed when I looked at it, you know, and when NWA is thinking 40 percentile, really, if you're about 35th percentile in the winter test in third grade, it had a pretty high correlation that you were going to pass IB too. So I kind of look for those things, and you can kind of go back in time and look and find the correlation for the next time forward and stuff. So this, so what did I do? This was last year's. I learned each place where we were was state average. So biology was right at state average. 7BLA a little higher, ABLA a little lower, and our math a little lower last year. So it looks like some adjustments that Robin's making in the classroom, the checkpoint follows through. Show
Can I ask a question on the state average? Is that the average of all schools? So 50% or above, 50% or below? That really doesn't say anything about whether or not they're learning what they're supposed to be learning. It's all a comparison to other schools of the state, right?
Well,
Scores?
well, the way, so that's just the pass rate. So the overall state average passing 8th grade ELA was 42.7% of all 8th graders in public schools. Because I think I was only looking, I might have only looked at the public school disaggregated data.
Okay, so the average or this percentage of students passed the test.
Yes.
Okay.
Which in reality, when you look at it, there's a problem with the test when the state average is 34.5%. Yeah. When the old ISTEP, you used to be 80, 85% or so. Yeah. So this really goes into these tests are they're not developmentally appropriate. A lot of it. They're really written for high performance kids that can really problem solve and such. So then this, not only do I just, this is last year's, I learned that this was in our school improvement plan. I just kind of pasted this on the school improvement plan. But I just kind of like to see how we're performing with neighboring schools. And there's also just a little bit of a competitive streak and, you know, be a little bit better. So we're kind of in the middle. I don't know why I didn't rank these. Usually I do my graphs and rank them so you can see better where they are. But I think if I counted these, maybe But you see, even surrounding schools, the highest there's only 54.9%, 55 or something, just barely over half passed 8th grade ELA, 8th grade math. If we just look at just math scores in general, there's only 2 schools over 40%. What's happening there? And again, you gotta use more than one data point because these are cohorts that moving through, you have stronger cohorts of students at different times too. So you might look at how great we jumped 20% or whatever and stuff, but you really gotta do cohort to cohort. And I had done that in the school improvement plan a little bit since I still had 6th grade data last year to see how much they grew onto 7th grade, and there was some growth there that because your goal in the year is to get some more.
Class has been small too. So
Yes.
if you have a high class, it's that students that isn't good for the person.
Like, so on this data, the 7th grade class is extremely small, like 32 kids tested. So each kid was almost points either way. Yeah, 40% kind of in the middle for 7th grade. I learned. And again, there, 7th grade math kind of falls off for a lot. Pioneer did pretty well there too. And if I would look back, my question a little bit to them is I wonder what curriculum they're using too, because there is a difference between curriculums and stuff, the way it's taught and sequenced and such. So, but if you look at Pioneer Elementary, last year's AP pass rate here. These were the ones that scored a 3, 4, or 5 that got their college credit in that. And literature and language, coincidentally, exactly the same. 8 out of 18 students in those classes scored a 3 or higher on that. That was taught by Natalie Kennedy and Hillary Dury. Hillary has the language, Natalie has the literature. Desiree taught biology. I'm not really sure what happened there. She had 5 kids have 1 because a couple of those kids didn't pass bio, didn't pass the other 2, so 1. Calculus is a little bit skewed. That was only 3 kids that tested. 2 out of 3 passed. We had a lot of kids drop that last year. It was AP Calculus. As seniors, we ran into the playing the GPA game and stuff, and rigor and expectations of it spooked them, and they dropped down or decided not to take it. So we're in AP TIP through Notre Dame for this, so it was really kind of nice. The kids got a check if they passed, and the teachers got a check too for the percentage. So we went into class for the current seniors that took it last year, and I think they got $100 for passing the test. So, all through the program. So it's a little bit of motivation there, and I think Hillary did it too. So we're in year 2 with AP TIP, which is mandatory. Year 3 for next year is optional. Another year now. Doesn't mean we won't teach AP. It's just a matter because there's requirements and stuff to be made to the teacher training meetings, my meetings, and stuff too. Graduation rates over the years. I just took this out of the school improvement plan. And I thought when I did this in the fall, the true graduation rate wasn't posted, and I estimated that. I thought I saw something else came out that were like 90 something, but I looked it up where it was actually released, and I looked it up and we were 100% last year. So this year we moved off a little bit. There's one for sure that's not, and we've got 3 on watch right now that we're talking to and pushing. Not that they may not get their diploma, they may not want it. They may need a little extra, they need summer school or finish before September, because September 30th, if we can get them completely finished and count as graduation rate. So at the most, I feel like 98%. The other 3, it can be done.
It depends on the school classes too, so every student or 2 students don't end up graduating.
I think we have 52 seniors right now. So, and last year's diploma types, this shows it was a strong class when 46% of them were either academic and or academic technical honors diplomas, 39% quote 40, 12% got a general diploma, 2% for an alternate diploma. So they were a strong class. This year's will be as strong. The junior class is strong too. They will do well. SAT, PSAT comparison. So the PSAT, the current seniors last fall of 24 took a PSAT, and then in the spring they took a SAT. So you can see that there was growth. The average went up, and each subdomain went up too. I think the range dropped a little bit, but we did. And Hillary is she is starting SAT prep during success to work towards that are using the PSAT scores from October, and she's now starting success group to work on that spring test. SAT. This was just this fall's, both juniors and sophomores take PSAT. And the scores there. The juniors are still strong. You'll see the range is smaller, but there's more at the top end because the average, they're much stronger academic. Marcy did this as part of our early college application that's going in. The number of dual credits that are earned. So you see 115 students took 232 courses passed at his C or higher, which earned them 710 credits. And that's all part of 2. We're supposed to kind of show how much these credits are going to save them money. So she forget how much, $175 or $275 a credit or something she is using to calculate that. But then it went up again last year. 144 students had 398 courses, potential $219,000 of tuition savings as they go on to college. Yeah. This year, not really trying. We got 4 that would definitely earn the Indiana College Board. Yes. So that's 30 college credits will transfer the block into any public school and college in Indiana. So they're basically going in as a sophomore. They have to use it. We have got 4 more, 1, 2, 3 more. Yeah, 3 more. That's close. That is a science class, science and speech short, and Ivy Tech has a crossing the finish line. That one of those students that Ivy Tech uses that money to pay for that course that she's taking online. To that you get to that final semester of your senior year, of the course, they have the program crossing the finish line to help them finish that ICC. So we'll have 4, maybe 6 or 7 of the actually.
And that's a huge accomplishment. If you remember, it was 3 years ago or so we started the process. You have to get teachers licensed to teach dual credit. And they've been working very hard on that. The teachers are working very hard on that, aligning schedules, make sure that kids can get what they need. Because like you said, it's 30 college credits, 30 classes that our teachers teach that kids now can go off to college and have 30 college credits.
we're not quite ready to get into an associate's degree yet before they graduate. There's some more requirements to that, but.
Do you think that's possible?
With the right student, yes. And we'll have to partner a little bit more and have to take some other online classes that we don't offer. So, um, so all of that, all of this that I showed, all factors in because now we're going to be getting school grades again. And all of that's going to go in 60 rates, graduation rates, attendance rates, dual credit, how many credits middle schoolers earn before they even enter high school and such is all going to be factored into our school letter grade now. Down at the principal's conference, the IASP, he's created a spreadsheet that will calculate that for us. I'm going to need a little more explanation why I was playing with that over break because you got to find enough. It's a spreadsheet. If you got the data, you just type it in and it will calculate everything for you. He's worked up the spreadsheet, but there's so much and I got to play with that more.
Both in the A's.
I did not include NWA yet. We're probably 2/3 of 75% done testing with basically that first week after Thanksgiving being blown with all the weather and delays and such, and then getting ready for finals. They gave the option of before break or after break. So there's some that's finishing up with it right now to find out as well. And then our WIDA, I have put in their WIDA window opens next week. I will say WIDA has been difficult corporation-wide trying to get these students exited from the program. Just they have to score 5, it's still 2 years in a row, to be exited. So, and these students, we've got juniors and seniors for units that's not exited yet. They can't quite get over the hump. And I think there's still just some kind of barrier in that path because they're pretty proficient in this. A big stumbling block is the speaking portion of it. I think just even the apprehensiveness, I think of just even speaking into the microphone.
It's not natural. It doesn't seem to matter how many years they do it either, does it?
Yeah. So we got it.
Information. Excited to give you a copy of our fund report. So it's not a final fund report. I pulled this before Shannon has kind of gone through and kind of different all. One thing I want to bring to your attention is our education fund. So I kind of always remind you what you want to look at: revenue versus expenditures, year-to-date revenue versus expenditures. So if you look, our revenue is 5.3 million-ish. And our expenditures are 5.5 million-ish. Our current balance is still $4 million, but our beginning year balance was 1.2. So we've had negotiations in November. I want to try and get our teachers up to 45. We're still working on that. Remember, we had to make some significant insurance increases. We need to kind of keep watching that, and I want to see how the budget behaves. They need to talk about what reductions look like in our education fund moving forward. Class sizes is not on the question. It's the small class sizes, especially in high school, more so in high school. Just to continue to be lean. February 1st, I believe, is our count date, February 1st or 2nd. So we'll know more then February 2nd. So it's count day when we count all the students that are enrolled in school. So we want to keep that number going up. Every student is funding for us. But I am concerned that we need to make some changes. We cannot effective nutrition, hiring, not hiring, or replacing, or reconfiguring. How we're gonna go. We have a copy of the revenue report, which I use as well. See where we're at for revenue. Couple pages back to, I gave a copy of our strategic plan. Kind of updated that a little bit for you. So I'll kind of just go through some of these things. As you remember, we have some focus areas. Those focus areas, three of them. Focus area one was increasing pride in West Central schools. So that we want students engaged in our school curriculum, extracurricular programs. We want to increase students who are not engaged in our activities. And so back in 2023, I went through and they listed every single student in our district and decided them as principals and athletic directors kind of helped me put beside each student's name what they were involved in. And I can share that with you about the students' names. What you see is some students are very involved, multiple sport athletes, clubs. Several of those students, and have students who do not so challenged counselors and principals. How do you get those 20% engaged? So preliminary data shows that 20% of our students are not engaged. You know, say for clubs, band, 4-H. How do we get those? Some other things we've done over the years are to have a Wall of Fame, top 10 banquet helps to accentuate the achievements of graduates. While we were doing that through Facebook, parent meetings with Harmony, Mr. Carlson did a nice job of that last year and the year before, setting up parents so that they could know how to check student grades. I've been working on cataloging our business partners. So I've asked teachers to help recognize those, do a better job of recognizing the level. Examining transportation for ECA clubs and after school activities. We did do transportation for after school tutoring and community high schools after school tutoring last year. And then anybody could have gone on those buses, but we got provided that this year because they got that after school that they kind of done through success, correct? Another focus area was high student and district performance. Kind of see the progress there, determining assessments used to proficiency. So we've done some work with curriculum mapping. We continue to do that. Mr. Carlson worked with teachers on a day in January to work on creating some common assessments. So I appreciate his work in doing that. Elementary teachers K through 6 engaged in PD, science reading, amplify, training, science of reading, training. Some teachers have completed keys of literacy for their, some are still in the process of that. We've tried to utilize in-house experts for PD, professional development of our staff. So we currently do that. So they're just listed this year. System meetings are when I come talk with the principals and we sit down and I ask them to tell me kind of like what Mr. Carlson's done, talk about your data, what he was proud of, where's areas of growth, continue to do those. Other strategies are engage administrators and teachers using research-based and high-quality instruction and high-quality resources. 75% of our students demonstrate success on local, state, and national tests. Well, that's a lofty goal, as he just presented to you. The state data is 35, 40% passing, so I don't 75% is very important. 75 or 80% passing. That's realistic. 95% graduation rate. See where we're at with that. Some of the things we've done, catch up with pay, success, some things. Maintain a 15% cash balance education fund. Running high quality PD for the best practices for all staff. Maintaining a 3-month operating balance while the appropriate resources in the classroom. Achieving an star certification across district. Determine what energy stars are. So I do track energy consumption and continue to do that. And then the final focus area was encourage and cultivate responsible, respectful staff and students who is the highest level of integrity and respect. some of the things we've done there. Some of them include the Trojan traits that we developed a year or two ago. You'll see posters in the hallways of both buildings with our students showing those. Susan James did a nice job creating those posters. Some of the other things I have given you are, I know it's very small, but it's a little packet of little, and it's here at the top. So the state of Indiana released federal report cards for schools. So this is our federal report card. Indiana has not given a report card to schools since COVID kind of just stopped it. First, unless you kind of keep the same grade and they just kind of give up. So they're going to go back, as you kind of mentioned, back to a report card. But it's a lot of factors that play into that report card. So this is our federal report card for the elementary. So the first 2 pages, and it is middle school, the next 2 pages, and then finally it's the high school. So I would just cut to the chase and go right to the middle. That's the overall summary. So right in the middle is the overall summary, which is going to kind of tell you how they did. So for the elementary, they do not meet expectations. And some of the areas that they do not meet expectations would be kind of addressing the needs of those bottom 25% students. Kind of follow over here the number of points that were received. The elementary teachers received about this yesterday. Briefly. Middle school, you can kind of see theirs is approaching expectations in the middle, and it was small. It's how the portal I can't even pull it out anymore if you give me an error message.
I didn't try today. I didn't try today.
Okay. And then the high school is meeting expectations. Attendance, proficiency, academic progress, closing achievement gaps, all those factors into the overall federal. There are no consequences for this. Just give it to us. Pass that along. Mr. Ross would most likely pass it along. So, this is from the federal department.
There's one.
Thanks. Yes, this is federal government. So the other things that you should know, teacher appreciation grant has changed. About that. It used to be you would get a pot of money and you would give it to all effective and highly effective teachers and make sure that the highly effective teacher got a little bit more, but it's the same. You're going to get 20% more, I guess it was. Well, the state changed that. So now it has to be for teachers who raise and improve, making significant gains in student achievement. So it has to be tied back to the teacher in the classroom as a roster. And they have demonstrated significant growth of what the DOE says is 1 in 4 years growth. So we put the application out in October, gave teachers till January 2nd, teacher workday to get all this data compiled. So we asked teachers to show us the data that shows that raised student achievement more than 1 year's growth. So there'll be a committee that will review. We have 8 applicants, 8 teachers who submitted applications. And so Mr. Carson, myself, Mr. Walsh, we'll get 2 other people that wouldn't be eligible for that to review the applications. We have like whatever the problem with it is the DOE set the limit, set the levels like 7,500, 5,000, 3,500. So there's 3 tiers that teachers will be eligible. And so the DOE, I do my own calculations. I think it's somewhere around 9 students. I'm sorry, 9 teachers that would qualify. The DOE says it's somewhere between 11 and 13 because we didn't take out Harmony. People who left, they're still in Harmony by the time they pulled the data. That was a high number. I thought that's great. We could use 13. Use 13. Well, the money that came in only allows us, because DOE says you have to use the amount. You can't split it up. You can't say, okay, well, you're going to get 35,000. Just split it between those people. Nope. It has to be these amounts. So we got like $22,000 or something for 11 people. It has to be these amounts. So So just let it work out. There's no way. And that, even the lowest amount, doesn't work out that bad. So it's a DOE math. Well, I call it DOE. It's not real. So what the DOE does is they put it, so the legislators say, we're gonna put this pot of money aside, let's say 25, for teacher appreciation. We divvy it up between all the schools, raise their hands and say, well, I want the money. It's like summer school. Then it gets divvied up. It doesn't always, because they're only gonna be 20. They're not gonna be 13 times 75.
So are you looking at using only the bottom tier or how?
Yes. So these top two tiers, you have to have a formal mentoring. It's a little more stringent. We don't have a formal mentoring program. We kind of do. We think we can tweak it as we go, but kind of like summer school. Legislator says, okay, we got this money for summer school. Who wants it? Y'all raise your hands. I want it. When they dig it out, we might only get 50% of what you ask for. So, 50%, which is fine. But and they're telling you also, Jeff, you have to provide ID. You know. Yeah.
How do you, you have to get 3,500 all night.
So at the most 6.
Yeah.
And then if you don't use it all, you're gonna send it back. So we could do 7. We're gonna have, I mean, I don't wanna send anybody back, so we'll do 7. Fine.
Yeah, we're $9,500
If
short.
they're eligible, if they're eligible, if they show that they, that they significantly increased student achievement. Not, then, great.
Your 9 teachers, do you see that it's harder for people in like K-1-2 or high school that doesn't have the same data for the art
Or you tried to make it, when we met, we kind of tried to talk about how do you make it
Okay.
as, yeah, because the DOE will tell you, oh, you can figure out your own plan. You can have your own plan, but oh, it's gonna have this, and it's gonna have that, So other superintendents are all sharing their plans because the DOE sure didn't give you plans. They just said, figure it out. Just make sure that the teachers demonstrate significant growth here for most of your students or students. Yeah, so I would look, yeah, we will provide as much as we can to teachers that adhere to that. Because then they don't want to know, they just want to know the names of the teachers. That's good. Construction update, construction is pretty much mostly finished. There's still some things that finished. They came up with Christmas break and swapped out windows in the breezeway. One was really cloudy that just got replaced, and then a few of them were tinted the wrong way, not from our doing, but like move part help make it right. So we move those down so that you can't tell. Still are talking about some kind of heat source in the breezeway. So Move Park helped design something. Have that installed hopefully the next month. Still working on, they did some work over Christmas break on the new chiller. I have pictures. They came over Christmas break and took me pictures in all the spaces. So it's a whole big file of pictures. I can go and make a file for you to see. Or I could just send it as you send it. So pictures. The goal would be to try and do it before and after together so you can see the difference. And the letter grades. The elementary, there are 31 students who have perfect attendance for the first semester. 72 who are going to be on the A honor roll. 85 students will be on the A honor. And then something new for the elementary this year is bringing up grades award for any student that brings a grade. That's very good.
Yes, and I give those to the table. So moved, Mr. President.
The question that was brought up about the visual wall of fame. Voucher number 8362 on page 9. Board member wanted to know if that was double payment, because it shows, one line shows 1,200, the other line shows 1,200. The reason is because the first line, this is for the wall of fame that's down the hallway. So it's a total of $2,400 a year subscription. So part of it's paid out of operations, we pay it, we pay that, and the other half is advocacy.
Bring, we can all. Say no. Aye. Opposed? Anything else from anybody? Anybody? We are adjourned. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you people for following.
We found my inbox, my dad's fine. I have a feeling that when we went to school, we must be dumb. So I figured something, I mean, yeah, it must not have worked. Didn't give her lunch was, well, it's like, and talking to varsity, they were talking about, one girl needs this credit. She said, well, I still need her capacity signed off. I still need a work experience. I still need this dog. Just all those boxes need to be checked off before she put it fall. So, and approval isn't it? It's a fashion thing. You either gotta complete that or sign the form that you did not feel really. I didn't know.
It still comes from everywhere else, just like here.
Yes. I guess are.
Yeah.
Have a good evening. Are you done with the TV?